when I was in Virginia this past weekend, my
Mm-hmm.
aunt was like, "I listened to y'all podcast. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
got to talk about this." So here we are, Aunt Ann. Shout out to you. We talking about Iran was bombed by America's armed forces over the weekend.
Yes.
Why?
Um,
Having been a former well, never former, never
but
former, because you
once a Marine,
simplify.
yeah,
You know what I
once a
mean?
Marine, always a Marine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna break it down the best I can. I saw somebody making like jokes, but it was like it was an accurate description of what's going on. Because like back earlier in the year, um, Iran and Israel were going at it like they had been forever, right? And as part of like just the global consensus, because Iran has been caught numerous times, you know, being the financial backers of most of the world's terrorist organizations. Uh, that's just those are the facts of the situation.
Mm.
They were going back and forth, and we were like, "Hell, I'm not, I'm not getting in this. Like, I'm trying to stay out of it, right?"
Okay.
Um, and then Israel's like, no, they have, they're getting nukes together, getting nukes together, and they're getting nukes together. So we have to take that into consideration. So, however, America finds these things out, we found some uranium enrichment facilities. So that's the precursor to making nuclear warheads.
Mm.
So we found those. We went, hey, shut those down. We're not playing.
Mm.
Shut them down. You're not supposed to have them. As part of our peace treaties with everybody,
Ah.
you're not supposed to be doing this,
Mm.
especially because of the things you've been into. So stop it. And they went, yeah, we're not gonna stop it. And good luck, New York and Florida. So as soon as you say that to the dude that has shown you that he does not care, don't be surprised if he does the thing that
Mm.
everybody's afraid of.
Mm.
See, my thing, like all jokes aside, my thing that we have now, because it's just been publicly let out that we have what they call the Iron Dome. So like we have an aerial defense system for ground to air missiles that's basically those weapons will never leave their own airspace within a certain range, right?
Mm.
Um, and that's just that thing, not to mention like satellite relay and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
all of these things all of these things lead me to believe that if somebody did decide to mess with us, our whole preemptive strike thing would just shut it down, which is what happened. Because essentially right after we destroyed those two or three uranium enrichment facilities over the weekend,
Mm.
um, you sent an article earlier. They shot like six missiles at um, a U.S. base or something
Yeah.
in one of those countries, right?
Right.
And
Qatar.
Qatar, and all six of those missiles did not leave the airspace that they launched from, right?
Mm.
This reminds me of a story that I heard. There's a YouTube dude that's got a whole video on it.
Mm-hmm.
His name's a fat electrician. I
Mm-hmm.
just like watching some of his stuff because I like military history. But
Okay.
um, there was a time where no, excuse me, Iraq attacked like this oil thing, and they basically skyrocketed the cost of like the Saudis oil, and it skyrocketed the price of gasoline. Right
Mm.
during that attack, they essentially touched America's boats, which is like the big military joke is don't touch America's boats because then you'll find out why you don't touch their boats.
Mm.
So in an 8-hour span, we obliterated half of Iraq's navy, and that was in the 90s.
Mm.
So with the advancement in technology being the way that it is, I feel like go ahead, keep not listening when we say cut it out,
Right.
and then it's just going to be a parking lot.
Right.
Like
Wow.
I I get the not wanting to be a part of a war and everything. Like everybody's upset. Like I understand, and I don't agree with everything, but
Mm.
there's one thing that I've always held fast to is I'd rather fight you at your place than mine.
All right. So let me ask this. Well, why? First of all, why?
Because if I fight you in your home and not my home,
Oh yeah,
there's
yeah.
less likely it's less likely that damage is going to be done
Yo,
in
yeah, yeah,
mine.
yeah. Let's
So
take this fight out of Angel Grove.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And fight somewhere else. Yeah,
Basically.
absolutely. All right, so let me ask you this: was it okay for us to bomb their facility off of a threat?
Yes, and this is why. This is one of those things like I didn't like, and I don't like this in in scenarios like this. You want to be able to what's that? Speak softly but carry a big stick.
Okay, yeah.
So like, hey, cut it out, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
the last administration, everybody was like, oh, he don't even remember what he had for breakfast. Like we could kind of just do what we want. So in the grand scheme of things, like people didn't take us seriously,
Mm-hmm.
or they thought, like, oh, what's going on? In a situation like this, like, yo, that nuclear enrichment program is not something you should have. And if you don't handle it, I'm gonna handle it.
Right, right.
Whatever else in politics and stuff, like I don't really get behind. That's something I can be like, no, I completely understand.
Understand. You said tread softly but carry a big stick.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I love this saying, better to be a warrior in a garden than
Hmm.
a gardener in a war.
Yep.
Mm.
And that's really how I feel about it. I'd rather you look at me like, yo, what that's unnecessary or that's excessive than like me trying to acquiesce to like however escalation goes, and then you catch me slipping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not with that.
Right.
So I'd rather just handle it now, because we confirmed it, and then like 6 hours later, after the airstrike failed, they're like, "Oh, we opened up peace talks because you
Yeah.
found out that we weren't playing with you."
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Since you said that, they found out we not playing with you. Should America calm down with the gloating?
Um,
Cause you,
it's an American thing. Like I hate it in the sense of like, because I'm not super flashy, but like
mhm,
it's the most American thing to be like, yeah, no, I did that,
yeah.
and then like,
And look at y'all based off of
mm-hmm,
what we did.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. Um. Now President Trump sent out like a ceasefire
mm-hmm,
recently, even after the missile strikes.
yeah. Um, Kudos to everybody that got that worked out. You know what
Mm,
I mean? Those are complicated agreements. So,
that's
like I
true.
said, it's one of those things. Like I'd rather we didn't have to destroy you to make you listen,
Mm-hmm.
but also like you knew you shouldn't have been doing it. So like the consequences are this. And I don't condone like loss of life or whatever, but I understand, and I have some friends that are from Iran, right,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
or like Iranian descent, but also having been over on that side of the world,
Right.
most of those people outside of like the ones that were working for us, and even some of them, they don't like us as Americans. They don't like the idealism of capitalism or anything like that. Like
Right.
their entire culture is built on hating us
Right.
without ever having met us.
Right.
And while we're taught to
Like a
give
lot
us,
of the world.
yeah, like we're taught to like have a worldview, but the rest of the world looks at us like, some
Yeah.
of us shouldn't
Because a
exist.
lot of them are under communist rule and
Yeah,
stuff like that as
like
well.
a real authoritarian government,
Mm-hmm.
and like they constrict the flow of information. So like,
Yeah.
while I understand
Mm-hmm.
and wish that things couldn't be the way, like they things could always be better than what they are,
Right.
but I understand why they are the way they are.
Right.
So like, us gloating is just one of those like, you're not gonna like us anyway, so I don't need to pretend that I'm not happy about cutting you off before you did something heinous.
Mm. It's like I got my own friends. I don't care if y'all like me, but I think it's more so like from the standpoint of like them retaliating and them out of fear of them like of like another 9/11 or something like that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's also been said that they have I forget what they were calling them, but they have people in certain places
Mhm.
that will you
Or the
know
insurgents or whatever, right?
yeah, and they would terrorize places, like events and stuff like that. And you got 4th of July coming up and all of that stuff as well.
So while I agree, and I know that that's a serious threat,
Yeah.
again, this is one of those things like I this just because I'm America first in this sense where like we spend so much on defense and like war in general, like investigation or whatever. So like I feel like if that was the case, there's something that they're planning is serious. Um, we would get to it before it became a real problem. See, like Iran's military isn't as strong, right? Especially now because they're all like all over the place. Their whole thing is funding terrorism, right?
Hmm.
Um, like everybody's worried about like China and Russia. China's got its own thing going on. The embargo with us kind of messed up their economy, and those biological experiments that they did kind of messed it up. So like that's the question I have is how strong is China, right?
Mm.
And then Russia was having a hard time just fending off Ukraine. So I'm really not fearful, and this might be the American bravado thing. Like I'm not fearful of somebody that was having an issue dealing with a smaller country
Exactly.
because they couldn't get their stuff together.
Right.
Um, so like as far as the world powers are, like everybody that's an actual threat is either an ally or we have some type of
Right.
mutual understanding.
Right.
So at this point, it is what it is.